Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another Walking Dead video for Daryl Dixon, episode 5 of season 2. And after a devastating episode 4 where we had the death of Isabel, it was something I saw coming, and I was prepared for it and everything, but I was still very angry with what they did. It was another, the best way I can describe it is another stupid Scott Gimple type of writing choice with this character, where we could have very easily had her stretch into the third season and, whatever else they have planned for Daryl Dixon and as far as having his own series and whatnot. It was just a very stupid choice. They took this character that we grew to actually really like, someone that Daryl really clicked with, and into the season had really just opened up to her, and they had the big kiss moment, the big thing where we never thought we would see Daryl actually kiss someone on screen and be with someone and have someone that he had so much in common with, and someone that had a dark past just like him, with the scars and everything on her wrists, where we'd also seen similar scars on Daryl's back from the abuse that he suffered growing up from his father. They had a very specific kind of chemistry, and they brought them together and gave us something as fans that we didn't think we would ever see, and then they just fucking killed her off. It was a very poor choice as far as story development, and just taking Daryl and basically just reverting him back to who he was. And it was clear with season 1 that Daryl Dixon and Isabel were the two main characters. Isabel was the female lead, and then we got that whole story developed, and we thought we were going to get more, and then Season 2 announcement came along. Carol was coming back to do her thing. Melissa McBride was coming in to play Carol again. And it just seemed like they were in a hurry to get rid of Isabel so Carol could take up that female lead. And it just seems like everything that we had been through with Isabel and with her character development and with the relationship that she was building with Daryl, it was completely for naught. They just kind of shoved her all aside, killed her very quickly, and it seemed like Daryl just moved on just as quick. And, there was no real, fallout from her death that we've seen so far anyways, until, Laurent finds out. But it just seems like she never existed at this point. They moved on from her. I think she had maybe a few minutes worth of screen time in this episode, and with the previous episodes too, she didn't have a whole lot of screen time. Her character was just very slowly nudged out with the reintroduction of Carol, and now Carol has taken the female lead, and Isabel's just gone, and it seems like they're just forgetting about her, and it was just a stupid choice. I don't support it. I mean, I think this has been a big gripe amongst fans. There's people in the middle, obviously, too, where they're like, whatever, she's just another person that got killed. And I can see that, too. It's not like a huge loss, and it's not going to destroy the show, I guess, but it definitely takes away from it. And it's a shame that it got to that point where they keep introducing these interesting characters and then just turn around and kill them off. Like, I'm sure that Ash is next. If not in this next episode, he will definitely die in the finale. I just have my gut feeling that's how it's going to go, because we do get a scene, and I will break that down in this trailer. But with all that little bit of ranting out of the way, and before we get into the trailer breakdown, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. If you love Walking Dead content just like this, please think about coming back for more. But getting into the trailer breakdown, we have this first frame where we have Carol and Daryl coming in from the back, and in the trailer he says, "Are you ready?" and makes this loud whistle, and we see this car surrounded by walkers. This is something we've seen in multiple trailers at this point, where we see this car, and at some point or another, Daryl makes his way in there, Carol makes her way in there, and then they go about taking out these walkers, and we know from the trailer, and I'll get to it, but they're basically coming in someone's rescue, and there's some interesting people, or interesting walkers, I guess, that are surrounding this car. Don't know who they are. Probably some of Madame Genet's people. And so we'll just go from there, I guess. Then here's another shot from that same little sequence where we see them approaching the car, taking out walkers, and just coming to the rescue, basically. Then we get this shot. Now, this has been something that has been a vast improvement from The Walking Dead and from Fear, is just the scenery. We get these beautiful sky shots, and you can see that it's Paris because you can see the Eiffel Tower there in the background, and just this architecture and stuff that we don't have here in the States. It's just some beautiful stuff that they've gotten to work with, and it's definitely a step up from what we're used to. Then here's what I'm talking about. We have Ash here, and from the beginning, I've never thought he was going to make it. He's just another supporting character that they'll bring in. He'll have some interest and some intrigue to him, and they'll just turn around and kill him off because he will have served his point in the story. This way, they can move on with our main characters into the third season, which we know is filming. And like I mentioned with Isabel, we have not seen any sign of him in the season 3 leaked paparazzi stuff that we've got out there. We've just seen Daryl and Carol, not even Laurent, because I honestly don't think Laurent will go to the third season. If he does, he's probably very low-key, possibly. But we get Ash running to this car, and then we see him jump in there, close the door. I don't know if he thinks this car is just randomly going to start, considering it's been sitting there for God knows how long. And or maybe this is possibly the car that he showed up in, because when we left Ash, he was still at that makeshift kind of landing strip that Carol had left him at. She had told him to stay there because you're not really prepared to deal with what's out there, because he was secluded in his little makeshift little camp that he had. It was surrounded by gates with electrical wiring and all that, so he'd really never had to go out and had to deal with the world and scavenge for supplies and whatnot, because he had a pretty sweet setup. And then here we see a sky shot of that car slowly being surrounded by walkers. So I have to imagine maybe this is the car that he took to get to this certain point, or hell, maybe he's just out walking around exploring the area and he has to take off running, and this is the first little bit of shelter that he sees. And here we get our first shot of Laurent, because he did not get any screen time in this last episode, and so we get to see him kind of in a different type of situation, really, and with some surprising guests that are with him, because we know that him and Fleu had gone off. They went to that farmhouse with that old couple. They had since gotten in a car and they had taken off to, I believe, return to Paris. And in this next episode, it looks like he's got some surprising company, because he is here in this next shot with Codron. Now, Codron, I really thought he was going to die in the last episode because of where he was left off. He got tied to the back of that dune buggy and driven into the nest, but he was driven in there by Carol, and she was able to cut him loose and get him out of there. And he said, "Tell Dixon I did it for the boy." And we can see that he's still kind of honoring that. He's going there to try and help Laurent and Fleu. I don't know how he's going to catch up with them or how he's going to run into them, but he does make his way and try to protect Laurent from Lo Sang, because as we know, Lo Sang has gained the backing of Madame Gene's little army after she met her demise, in kind of a crazy, surprising, and quick way too, because we get Lo Sang in this next frame marching into this room. We see Madame Gene's former little right-hand woman, if you will, to the right there of the frame, and we have all these soldiers, and Lo Sang now, he has this new-found villainous type of confidence to him. We saw him at the end of last episode, where it just really seemed like he is there to fuck shit up, to put it lightly. And with this one too, he has this look on his face, or this new confidence with the backing of these soldiers. Like, no one can stop him. He's going to get Laurent no matter what, and he's going to deal with anybody who's in his way. Hopefully, Daryl gets to shank him in the gut like he did to Isabel. I thought that was a very screwed up death, and not only that, you could see that he kind of regretted it there after he did it, but it seemed like he's since shed that regret. He's all about his little mission and everything now, and he's going to deal with anybody who gets in his way. And so it should be very interesting to see how Daryl hopefully gets to carry out his revenge. Because we have another shot of Laurent and Codron still in hiding, still trying to make their way out of whatever building or area they've gotten into, that Codron has somehow tracked him and Fleu down. But it seems that Codron's pretty sincere about wanting to protect the boy and get him out of this situation and get him to safety. And Laurent seems to trust him, but Laurent also, just being who he is, that's part of his personality, that he wants to see the good in people. And so I'm interested to see what kind of connection they have, or what kind of just relationship they form, whether it be more than likely a short-lived relationship, because I still don't think Codron's going to make it through the entire season. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. We could be surprised, even though he's been pretty badly mangled from Madame Genet and her treatment. Then we get this shot too. This is pretty clearly something that's from the viewpoint of probably Codron and Laurent. Fleu is being held at gunpoint with Lo Sang there. He's probably questioning the crap out of him. Where was Laurent? Where have you taken him? This and that. And I think it's not going to go well. I could honestly see Fleu not making out of this, because he won't give up where Laurent is. And Lo Sang has kind of this new no mercy, won't take any shit attitude. And I think he's going to make him pay for turning his back on what he believes is the righteous path or whatever. because we get this shot of Daryl. He's in this car, or maybe it's a different car, but he's in a car, and he's got a pair of brass knuckles, or no, that's probably his knife. But he's in the car, and then the next frame, but I don't think I got it, we see the back window get busted out by walkers. So maybe they'll spend some time in this car situation or whatever they're trying to do as far as with Ash and with Carol and Daryl and whoever else might show up. Then we get a shot of Carol here in the nightclub setting or whatever with Anne from last season, who obviously has taken over the position that Quinn held before he was killed. So I imagine they probably go to her with requests, probably because of connections that she probably has, I imagine. And just things that she can get a hold of, or people that she can get a hold of because of her resources, or maybe just her reach as this nightclub owner and just having access to certain things or people or whatever. Now this chick, again, I cannot remember her name. Like I said, I think we've only gotten it once, but it seems like her and Lo Sang are in the catacombs, and it leads them to possibly trying to find Laurent, more than likely, because I believe the catacombs are right next to this club or somewhere near it. I really hope to see this chick die in a pretty gruesome way too. She hasn't had a whole lot of dialogue, but just her looks and her attitude and everything, she just has very nefarious intent. I don't trust her, and she just seems like she is bad news all around. So I hope that maybe Daryl kills her too, or maybe Carol does. That would be good too. Then here we have Codron, who is at gunpoint by somebody, probably either before or after he has caught up with Laurent and Falou and trying to protect them. And so it should be interesting to see how he gets out of this situation, if he does, because I'm still pretty confident he's not going to make it through the whole season. He will probably die protecting Laurent or someone else, or maybe even protecting Daryl. So that would be a really good way for him to go out. Then we see Carol here putting a walker down, more than likely, because I think this is still at that location with the car. And like I said, there were various different types of walkers, some of them with this kind of military type outfit going on. And I know a lot of people want to lean into that we could possibly see some sort of CRM connection. I just don't see it happening. I honestly believe, for right now anyways, they're not going to go into the CRM. They're not going to go into that for any type of story or any type of anything at this point. I think they're just going to kind of get away from that until the time has come. If they ever do go back to that, go back to Rick and where he is, as far as maybe he's in charge of a large faction of the CRM now. Maybe he's a military leader, but he does it from the Commonwealth or Alexandria or whatever they decide to do. Then we get this shot here. This one is just Daryl taking someone down, and it seems like it's very personal. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a walker, or is this actually going to be someone that he takes out for what they did to Isabel, even if they didn't really play the huge part in it. I think that he is taking someone out because he bludgeons someone or something to death, and it just seems like it's very personal. And that is the last frame that I grabbed from the trailer. The next episode looks very exciting too. We are down to the last 2 episodes. I can't believe we're already at that point. And then sometime in spring, we will get Season 2 of Dead City. We did get another teaser for that for New York Comic Con. I did a breakdown, so be sure to check that out. I will leave a link above. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed my breakdown, you enjoyed my thoughts about The Walking Dead, and you enjoy this type of content, please be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing. Help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers, and I'd really appreciate it. So until next time, guys, take care. Bye.